Good afternoon, everyone. Sheriff Edenfo here from Jackson County Sheriff's Office, and thank you guys for showing up today and coming to cover our story. We do apologize for being a little late on the Facebook Live. Had a little delay in weather. So we welcome you here to the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. Thank you all for making it, and I want to take this opportunity to discuss a long-term drug investigation, trafficking investigation, which has been named Operation Azul, that has been going on for a couple years now within our communities. When I was elected sheriff of Jackson County, I made a commitment to each and every citizen that we would do our very best to combat the drug problem that we face here in our communities. It's my belief that you must focus on arresting those who are distributing these narcotics within our communities. In order to accomplish this, it is vital that we partner with other sheriffs and federal agents within our area, within our communities. That is why I stand here with U.S. Attorney General Jason Cootie, DA Resident Agent in Charge Pedro Guzman, Liberty County Sheriff Buddy Mudhead, Calhoun County Sheriff Glenn Kimbrell, Gaston County Sheriff Morris Young, and Washington County Sheriff Kevin Cruz. Several years ago, a drug trafficking organization was identified and found to be distributing large quantities of narcotics throughout a tri-state area. During the course of this investigation, many individuals were found to be distributing narcotics, including methamphetamine, cocaine, fentanyl. These narcotics were being sold to citizens within our communities who suffer from drug addictions. Investigations of this magnitude take time, effort, expertise. They don't happen overnight. Since this investigation began, we have arrested more than 50 subjects and seized over 41 kilograms of methamphetamine, 6.6 kilograms of cocaine, 2.1 kilograms of crack cocaine, more than a half kilogram of heroin and oxycodone, multiple grams of MDMA and LSD, several pounds of marijuana, and approximately 2.5 kilograms of fentanyl. And to break that down for you, 2.5 kilograms of fentanyl is enough to kill 1.3 million people. And that's roughly 6% of the population of the state of Florida. This investigation spanned over 20 months and has required thousands and thousands of hours, making this the largest drug operation in the history of our county. However, this is not the end of it. It's just the beginning. We will work to continue working together to take drug traffickers off the streets of our communities. If you suffer from an addiction, we want to help you. We want to make that very clear. If you suffer from a drug addiction, we want to help you. But if you choose to sell illegal narcotics on our streets, we're coming after you. And we're not going to stop until we get you. I'd also like to take this time to recognize and thank those from other agencies who had a hand in bringing these criminals to justice. Panama City DEA, the Bay County Sheriff's Office, Leon County Sheriff's Office, Florida Department of Law Enforcement, Florida Highway Patrol, Houston County Sheriff's Office, Sneads Police Department, and Chattahoochee Police Department. So as you guys can see, an operation of this magnitude doesn't happen by itself. That's why I stand here with 6 sheriffs to show our commitment and dedication to working together alongside our federal partners to put an end to drug distribution within our communities. At this time, I want to introduce to a cohort of mine, a friend, a sheriff of a neighboring county who has seen the effects firsthand in his county of fentanyl use and what it does to a community. So I've asked him to say a couple words. Sheriff Morris Young.
Thank you, Sheriff. This is a grand day. I mean, I can't stress to you all how big this day is. You know, for a long time, I've been in the business for 35 years, and of course, I've been sheriff of Gadsden County for the last 19 years. And the biggest fight that we have is drugs. And I want to tell you, we will not be here today without our local partners, with our state partners, and with our federal partners. They're standing in this room today. And I say how grand it is. Just a year ago, when we talk about fentanyl, last July, we had over 12 deaths in Gadsden County due to fentanyl. Our Attorney General actually sent a letter to the President of the United States saying that fentanyl was a drug of mass destruction. I saw that in Gadsden County. I mean, I had no clue what to do. In one night, 12 people dead in my county. And so this is how grand this is today, of we coming to just about an end of a long drug investigation. Of course, this is not it. We're going to continue, and we know there are more out there. But I want to say, when you listen to the number of people that we have brought to justice today, I want to say they deserve a round of applause. This community, along with Gadsden, along with my other partner sheriffs, we sometimes try to figure out on a daily basis how to fight drugs, and we can't do it alone. And I say we're going to continue this fight, and you know, fentanyl, I can't say enough about that. So we're going to make sure that we do everything we can to clean our streets up. God bless you and thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Next, I'm going to ask U.S. Attorney Jason Cootie to step forward and talk. He's working on the prosecuting end of this, and he'll give you a little insight on where we go from here.
Thank you, Sheriff. Good afternoon. Let me start by saying thank you. Thank you to the men here with me and the other men and women that for the better part of a year and a half to 2 years have missed birthdays, have missed time away from their family. But they've done so because they care about the citizens of their communities. And so I want to start by saying that. But leadership starts at the top. And these men that are with me, these sheriffs and our partners with DEA, FDLE, Florida Highway Patrol, the Chattahoochee Police Department, Bay County, as the sheriff said, there are others that are not physically here today, but they have all contributed for the better part of 2 years to where we are now. When the sheriff talked about the impact on our communities, let me try to put it in a frame of reference for you. In the Northern District of Florida, in terms of how we work with our state partners, with the State Attorney's Office and the United States Attorney's Office, we don't focus just on Tallahassee. We don't focus just on Pensacola. The bulk of this work has been done between Mossy Head and Midway. It's the rural communities that have suffered the most with regard to this particular investigation. It's not just what gets sold on Monroe Street or on Palafox. It's what gets sold on a county road or behind Dollar General. And as the sheriff said, there are countless families that have suffered because of the addiction and, as Sheriff Young mentioned, the overdose deaths that have come from this kind of conduct. Let me just very briefly give you a prospect of what we're talking about in terms of scope and scale. Culminating this morning, but over the last few days and will continue, there have been north of 50 arrests where individuals have been indicted federally. Some of them have been charged on the state side. As with any criminal case, there's a presumption of innocence, and each of those individuals are presumed innocent until they are adjudicated in a court of law, be that in a federal court or a state court. But when we talk about, as the sheriff mentioned, the scope, he provided a little bit in terms of the numbers with regard to different controlled substances. In just 1 or 2 arrests, not talking about street level small amounts, but in 1 or 2 arrests, there have been seized in one search warrant alone 47 firearms and $28,000 and roughly 2.5 kilograms of cocaine in one instance. In a separate arrest, over 25 kilograms of methamphetamine at one location and a pound of suspected fentanyl. In another separate search warrant executed as part of this operation, 8.8 kilograms of methamphetamine, 1.6 kilograms of cocaine, 6 ounces of crack cocaine, a half pound of MD-30 or oxycodone pills, 3 pounds of marijuana, and numerous firearms. In the aggregate, there have been north of 50 people and close to 70 firearms that have been taken from the hands of those individuals that are distributing drugs in each of these communities. I started by saying thank you. And I think what this is in one county, but as you can see, over 6 different counties working in partnership with state partners and our federal partners. The sheriff said it best. We can't do it alone, and we are doing it together. And let me make one thing plain. We will do our darndest in terms of being dedicated and diligent to hold people accountable. Those that need help, the sheriffs are standing ready, willing, and able to have that treatment provided to their citizens. We will do the same on the federal side. But when it comes to sentencing and arguing what that sentence should be, when these eventual folks are either pled guilty or found guilty, we will make those arguments that the court should take into account what is an appropriate and just sentence given the harm they've caused to these communities. So I want to thank you all for being here, and I want to start end where I began by thanking all these folks behind us and those that you don't see on the camera, because they're not seeking fame or fortune. They're doing what they're doing because they care about the citizens of this community and our district. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you, Jason. So to mirror again what Mr. Cootie said, there's men and women that work for every sheriff, every agency represented up here that work tirelessly, nights, weekends, holidays, and they have to go to work when the work's there. And to them, I say thank you, not just here, but every county involved. They do it for the love of their community and the love of their citizens. So that being said, thank you guys for coming and for covering the story. And any questions?
You prepared. I guess, how much did this whole thing cost to fund this whole operation?
I'm sorry?
How much did it cost to fund this whole operation?
A lot. We have, each agency is responsible for their own staff, and we have had lots of overtime, and thankful for our partners, our federal partners. They like to share with that responsibility. And that goes back to working together. You know, the Jackson County Sheriff's Office could never do this by ourselves. That's why we team up with these other sheriffs and these federal agencies. That's the only way we can make it happen. But an investigation of this magnitude is expensive. Yes, sir.
My question is, I remember you speaking about like the areas that it kind of took place. Could you highlight some of those areas again? I know you said like the rural communities, but could you highlight like the names of them possibly?
Basically, this spans over several counties: Jackson County, Gaston County, Liberty County, Calhoun County, even into southern Alabama. But as far as like specific communities.
And I like to say this, a lot of times, you know, our federal partners that we have, they can go a little bit more advanced than we can, but the tracking of all of this, where did it come from? And a lot of folk don't like to say it, but you know, it comes straight from the southern border into Atlanta, and it just spreads out into these communities. And once it drops into these rural communities, that's when we see where we have a devastation with these type drugs.
Yeah, absolutely. Good point. You can rest assured this fentanyl is coming from your southern border. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's coming across the border. Yes, ma'am?
What is the total amount of drugs that was seized in this investigation?
We don't have a total amount as of yet. The numbers we gave you today, because we made several arrests today, and that still hasn't been calculated and tabulated. And again, this is in early stages of the investigation. There will be more people that will go to jail as a result of this investigation.
And about how long has this investigation been going on?
A couple years now. It started in late 2019 and then into 2020. COVID hit and sort of slowed it down, and then 2021 it picked back up. But it's very lengthy, and you got to realize a drug investigation of this magnitude, there's a lot of man hours, thousands upon tens of thousands of man hours to make this happen, and it takes a lot of planning and a lot of hard work.
Thank you.
I don't know if you said, if I missed it, but do y'all have a rough estimate about how many were actually arrested under the operation?
North of 50 so far.
And do you know about an estimate of how many warrants or y'all are still looking for?
There would probably be a couple dozen maybe. And as people who are arrested may be interviewed and may give you other information, so the number could grow.
And is this operation going to continue on, or is this?
Absolutely, yes,
So
ma'am.
this is just to let us know it's going
Absolutely.
on?
This is to let you know, we arrested a bunch of people today, and citizens are like, what's going on, what's going on? So that's the purpose of this, is like, this is what's happening. And again, if you're a drug trafficker in our communities, we're coming after you.
And how do you feel that working as a team has allowed y'all to allow this operation to be a success? Obviously, it couldn't be successful without the team, but how does that help?
Right. I stand up here with 5 physically constrained rural sheriffs. We don't have big budgets. And that is the only way to make something of this magnitude possible is to work together. Crime doesn't stop at the county line. It doesn't stop at the state line, but neither do we. We have agreements with every sheriff in the state of Florida. So that's, together, we are stronger.
And criminals doesn't care about jurisdictions, so they go from one to the other. We, of course, we kind of constrain to a jurisdiction, and that's why you see the team.
Again, thank you guys for covering this story and getting the word out. Thank you.